let's get into the Movie Stuff Show. My name is Dan. Joining me this week, my co-host Marty.
There were some comments in the chat from last week about my drinking again, so I got some water this week.
I saw nothing about that.
It was in the Pop Access chat.
Oh, then I did see that.
Yeah.
And it was a fair point.
I was not drunk.
Joining us, our special guest, Amanda.
Hey.
Who's just going to be singing Led Zeppelin all night.
Oh. Oh.
Wow.
That's the whole show.
Full
right
on
there.
white girl dance.
Yeah. Sorry. That's all I got.
And Nick, who's also going to do a white girl dance.
Hi.
Is there another way to dance to Led Zeppelin, though? Is
Uh,
there any way to do that and still look cool?
you could do the Batusi. That'd be awesome.
Nice.
Would that be appropriate to do the Batusi during a Thor review? I mean, Matt Damon already betrayed Ben Affleck by joining the Marvel verse, right?
All right. Right off with the spoilers. Jesus, Ben. He's into it.
Oh, spoiler alert. Matt Damon is the star of this movie.
Yeah.
He stars in it. Like, it's amazing. If you didn't see it, he plays Loki. Tom Hiddleston, gone. Just swapped in. I can't believe they just decided, Matt Damon's a big actor. Let's throw him in. I'm only half kidding there, right? He did play Loki.
I mean, yeah.
That's true. While Marty's watching his drinking, I'm not. I've decided to start drinking.
Back on the sauce. God bless
I
you.
am. I don't think there's going to be any Ghostbusters talk, but I figured I'd have a beer ready just in case.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I could have shoehorned it in.
Yeah. I just did. Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about Thor Ragnarok, or Ragnarok. You know what happened? I went to tweet this out, and I went for the hashtag, and it was hashtag Thor, and it was the first one that showed up. I was like, that looks good enough. I didn't bother to spell check it, and then I realized I misspelled it. Like,
Always
wow.
go with the one that has a symbol next to it. So they'll put the little cartoon emoji thing there.
See,
That's usually the official one.
I'm on my phone. I don't see those.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't see them
Mm-hmm.
until after you've tweeted, and then once you realize, it doesn't have that little emoji thing, so it was the wrong one.
Well,
We'll talk about it.
Amanda's always there to correct us. So.
She didn't correct us. I corrected her after the fact.
I didn't notice either.
Who's gonna
Bad
notice?
fan.
Thor Ragnarok is the 17th straight Marvel film that has been number one at the box office.
Very impressive.
17 straight.
I mean, what they go up against?
Nothing.
It's still an impressive.
Jigsaw. It went against Jigsaw.
Jigsaw week 2.
Hashtag Synergy. Go see our review of it.
Our
last
big
week.
review did not boost the box office.
Of Jigsaw. No. It did not. It had nothing. It had
Bad
nothing against.
Moms was out also.
I think
And
it's this weekend.
okay.
Yeah. Although it's really early for a Christmas movie. This Bad Moms too.
Yeah, but the last Bad Moms movie was surprisingly good. So
So they're going to mess it up with a sequel.
yeah, I accidentally saw it in a sold out theater. I don't know how that happened.
A lot
So
of bad
I
moms.
think that was
Yeah.
they did a good counter programming last year, or it went against Rogue One, I think, or one of the other big. It went against another big movie and it was kind of counter programming.
yeah.
It wasn't bad, though. It wasn't bad.
No, but it's like any comedy sequel. They're just going to go for the same jokes. If you, I actually saw the trailer for that and the trailer for, what's the dad movie with Will Ferrell and Stepdads? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I got it.
They're essentially the same plot. They're now just adding their parents to the movie, and it's just the same joke with new people. So.
Before I flew off, I got a free screening. I was like, come see Daddy's Home tonight.
Daddy's Home, that's what it was.
Daddy's Home 2. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm flying away. I was like, it's better.
What trailers did you see, Dan?
I can't remember. It was probably like
Yeah, if you saw it at AMC, it's all the standard
same ones.
I missed
This is the first time I saw the Jedi trailer in Prime.
I did
so
see.
pretty
Yeah,
excited.
I saw the
that
Jedi
was
trailer. Yeah.
We saw that.
Did you see it in the AMC Dolby, or did you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw it on that one. It was good. It wasn't anything special.
I saw it in the IMAX 3D.
Okay.
It didn't add anything. You know, where I saw Doctor Strange in IMAX 3D, and I felt like it added something to it. Like this, whatever.
3D is becoming almost not obsolete, of course, but it's almost the last choice sometimes because unless it's specifically shot in it, it almost adds. It almost takes
the
away.
time. It was the time.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it was the showing that I could go to that worked out time wise, and but I would have gone for the Dolby. Like I prefer the Dolby over.
Yeah, Prime's always my first choice.
Amanda, did you see it in standard or 3D?
Yeah, just standard cheapest showing I could find.
Smart girl.
Theater was throwing in extra screenings actually, so we got there and we thought we were going to see it at either 7:30 or 8:30, and there was also an 8 o'clock show in between. They just added like a whole other screen running.
Yeah. And it's pretty crowded, I bet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine. I went at 10:15 or 10:30 or something at night, and it was sold out. Like and those are the reserved seats, like with the Dolby. The IMAX 3D, completely sold out. Like.
I saw it this morning at 11:30.
The
middle was sold out.
That early bird Dolby price is good. You got to get that.
Mm-hmm.
It's still $13.
I mean,
What?
that's better than 20.
Yeah, it is a lot better than 20. I mean, yeah.
How'd the movie do, Marty? What was box office on this thing?
What? I think the final was 121, maybe give or take.
So pretty good.
Yeah, it was the highest for any Thor movie.
Yeah,
by a lot. Yeah. But I mean, again, it's almost.
Can we say Thor movie?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not
just,
comparable.
Just throw this in quotes here because it's. I mean, it's not a Thor movie. What is this? It's like
it's another mini Avenger movie, really.
No, it's
to
me. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
But there was 3 Avengers in it.
Yeah. It was more like a buddy cop movie.
It really was.
Or a bromance.
Something.
Or
it wasn't a Thor movie.
It was a lot like that Baywatch movie that came out earlier this year, actually.
Sure.
You did see it. That's right. You are the expert on the Baywatch movie.
Yeah.
I forgot.
A couple of muscular guys, one of them inexplicably larger than the other, running around saving the day.
It's a fair point.
Evil woman trying to ruin everyone's fun in this weird paradise that doesn't make any sense.
There
you go.
Yeah.
It's Baywatch 2. Baywatch 2. That is the synopsis, right? All right, let's go around the room. What'd you guys think? Amanda, did you like this?
Yes. I liked it very much. I like Thor. I haven't read too much, but I've read more Thor than I have any other Marvel superhero. And also, everyone in the cast is very attractive. And I also liked this director. Is it Taike? That's super. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't say his name. But What We Do in the Shadows was great. So I just kind of knew going in I was the target demographic for this, and I would apologize for it no matter what.
Sure.
Martin, you had issues though, right?
I was shocked at how well this thing was received. Like I said, we talked a little earlier before the show. It's the highest rated Marvel movie on Rotten Tomatoes, higher rated than Iron Man, which is the standard basically for these movies. And I was blown away at how bad I hated the first 5 minutes of this movie. He starts off, and it's almost like a Deadpool ripoff, where we find Thor trapped on some planet, and we think he's talking to the camera, but he's talking to some skull or something.
Skeleton.
Skeleton, and they're just doing these weird fucking hokey jokes during this moment where we think it's supposed to be serious, and then the Matt Damon thing we talk about, it was real. It was like Batman and Robin level stupidity at some point in this movie. And I really did not like a lot of what had the comedy in this movie, because I know and we'll get to it, I guess, but they completely changed the whole character in this movie from anything we've seen before. They turned Hulk into like almost a Groot-like character, where he's just this kind of childlike, strong man who's just having a good time on this weird planet. So, and there are funny things in this movie, but it's overshadowed by the constant need to turn everything into a joke that Marvel is just constantly doing now. They can't let anything be serious. They go from death scene to joke in the same shot, basically. So any attempt they ever have to add gravitas to any scene they have is just thrown away within a minute. And I mean, of course, there are things that are fun in this movie. The action's great. It's shot beautifully. The colors are amazing. It's all, it's kind of stolen from Guardians of the Galaxy. With the music used.
It's more like stolen from the actual comic books, but
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys love the comics. Like, I'm only going off the movie. You can only judge these off the movies that they've made. So, I mean, the color is great. They used the music was a little too much. I thought they went too much into Guardian style with the heavy metal music during the fight scenes. And Hiddleston's great as Loki again. He's always good, and the chemistry between him and Thor is always good. But I was just really taken back by how bad some of the comedy in this movie was. Because there were good parts, they're funny. Jeff Goldblum was really funny. There's that Rock character that's really funny.
He's the director of the movie.
Yeah. But they're taken away from because every other scene someone's going for a joke, and like I said, and the stake there are no stakes to the movie. It really there's no sense of what's going on. Again, we got a great villain. We thought.
You mean the end of the planet?
Yeah.
Just everybody dying.
We were never leading to that. And then it just happens.
We were the whole time.
No, we weren't. They just decided to do that in the last 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, everybody on Asgard is a now Norwegian a refugee. Suddenly,
They'd fit in. They'd fit in. Let's just say it, Marty. Let's just say it. As refugees go, they would fit in Norway, and that's why Anthony Hopkins chose.
Well, that's their gods. Those are their gods.
I'm getting ahead of myself, nitpicking a few things. I mean,
you are because I just asked for initial thoughts, and you've gone on for like 6 minutes. So Nick, your turn.
I liked it. What keeps happening with these Marvel movies is my middle of the pack Marvel movies keep getting. Like, it gets harder and harder to distinguish that middle, like those 6 through 10 movies, because it keeps changing. Like, those top 5, I think, are just locked in until maybe I added Spider-Man to my top 5. But that middle of the road, yeah, I did. I had my roots. But that middle of the road Marvel movie where you're just like, I like these, but it's not the greatest, it just keeps getting full. So I liked it a lot, actually. Probably better than the first 2 Thors.
See, I'm gonna kind of go back to something that Amanda said. I was having a discussion about this. Is this fit in more with the comic book than it had the prior movies? My issue is I like the prior movies, and there's so much science fiction going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I get that they're all leading up to this big space battle, and everything's gonna happen in outer space. I get that. But what I liked about the first 2 Thor movies, the first one probably worked more so than the second one, but the second one still had elements of that, is there was more of this fantasy element of it. And I wanted a little bit more of that. I wanted a little bit more of a battle on Asgard as opposed to, this was more outer space. And then they finally get to Asgard and it turns into kind of like a science fiction battle on a fantasy. I want kind of like a Lord of the Rings type big Battle of Helm's Deep type thing in this movie for the end of this planet. Didn't quite get that, but I agree with what Amanda's saying though. Thinking of some of the Thors of the runs of Thor in the comic book, it is a little bit more sci-fi in that nature. This kind of gave it, and then kind of shoehorning in the Planet Hulk stuff in here too.
Not really, though.
Well, here's the thing.
And they retcon the shit out of that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. They shoehorned
Welcome
it in.
to comic book movies,
right?
bitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Welcome to comic books.
Yeah.
That's just how that is.
Yeah. Even the idea that this Thor feels different than the last one. It's like, oh, it's just a new guy writing Thor this month, and at some level, you've got to be okay with that.
Yeah, I wasn't. Again, I enjoyed this. I thought it was fun, but I have some of the same issues I had with the original Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think the jokiness of it. I think it bothered me less because I think the people in this were more likable to me than the Guardians of the Galaxy crew. I liked the banter in this, even though it was so over the top jokey. I liked it better than the original Guardians of the Galaxy in regards to, even though it was too much joking around. I don't know. And I like Chris Pratt, but I think I tend to like the character of Thor better, even though it was a variation of Thor in this movie.
We can rank Chris's later.
Yes, right.
Oh yeah. You know what? When it comes to, I think what happens is that, like, with the Thor character, when they first started this Marvel universe or whatever, each movie felt different. Like the first 4, each movie felt different. But then, since it becomes so episodic, that Thor formula doesn't work with the universe because they've already painted a universe. So you can't have. That's how come the Dark World was the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just fell so flat. It was just like, oh well, because now the whole rest of this Marvel universe is so. It's in this like Whedon type style where there's the jokes and a little bit of because they're so episodic. I don't even look at these movies as movies anymore. They're just like the quarterly episode of Marvel. So you kind of like I wanted Thor to go that way though because Chris Hemsworth is a funny guy. They were not using it properly until they figured it out.
Ghostbusters.
Well,
son of a bitch, she did it.
Yeah,
but he was funny in the first 2. I thought in a kind of a fish out of water sense.
Yeah, but you can't.
Where he was this god on Earth thing, and now he's just this guy who's awkward around women all of a sudden, and he's getting zapped by that thing every 5 minutes and doing like shtick comedy. It was just weird to me.
Well, kind of felt like the new Han Solo movie.
Hey, Ron Howard.
We don't know that yet.
The original Han Solo movie.
Just to sidetrack real quick, on the plane I watched The Dark Tower.
Oh, Elba.
How was that?
I didn't hate it completely.
Okay.
I did not hate it. I guess it's because I don't have a memory of the original Dark Tower much. Because I remember it was on TV, but I was like a punk and I didn't watch any shit like that. But when I watched it, I was like, I didn't hate it. It is what it is.
Idris Elba must have came straight from that movie into this because he had that kind of vibe to this movie.
Yeah, that's why
he seemed a little out of place in this movie.
Well, because you never get it.
He was the only one being serious the whole time.
Well, he's
yeah, makes sense.
He's always been the serious one though.
I think Goldblum was being very serious in this movie.
Oh, his assistant was. Well, she was really good. What was her name?
Goldblum's assistant. That's just. I don't think they named the character.
Because she had that fun back and forth with the Valkyrie woman who was really good too.
I liked her.
I love her.
I thought she was great. I really did.
I
There's some good. Clancy Brown was in this. He played the voice of.
Yes. Surtur.
Surtur. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a huge Clancy Brown
finally.
fan, and again, my issue with that character is Thor beats his ass in the beginning of the movie, kind of handily, and then he finally gets onto Asgard, and he's like unstoppable at that point.
Well, because they explained it in the beginning of the movie. He was hobbled, he was weak, and he needed the eternal fire to become the demon that creates.
And like they always do that. I haven't read very much Thor, but I think I've read at least 3 stories that end with them tricking Surtur into attacking Asgard when it's empty.
Yeah,
like they always do that. He's just That's like great. There for that.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like this is also religious stuff. So prophecy, when it comes to religion, always happens.
Yeah.
So, and they let you know that in the beginning of the movie that this is going to happen regardless.
Right.
That's
because it was in a vision. Like, I mean, it's the same thing as I guess,
yeah.
The visions of Infinity Wars from Tony Stark. I guess that was going to happen.
Or even Batman's visions in
BBS. Yeah.
It's just they're going to happen.
Right.
Were you guys good with Hulk? Because I heard people say this is the best Hulk's been done.
Yes, they finally got Hulk right. That's how Hulk is. But Hulk is not quiet and just saying puny God. Hulk talks a lot in the comics, and it's Hulk.
Oh, did we lose Nick?
I hear you guys.
I think we lost his video though.
The audio is the important part, though.
He's in a good shot. He's all right.
I don't see him. Do you see Nick?
Can you hear me?
I can hear him.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
His video's out.
Yeah, the video went out. Oh, just keep talking as long as you can talk.
There he is. He's back.
All right.
Cool. So
I know you guys keep going back to that's how it is in the comics, so we have to get it. But when you're building a universe in the movies, then you just completely take a right turn.
Well,
no one. I mean, 99% of your audience isn't reading the comics for these things. They're just going.
No,
For the movie.
Except, except it's more about they're finally not embarrassed that they're making
yes.
Thor movies. Like they're finally like not trying to make it cooler than it was in the comic books, which
Right.
for Thor is like I feel like that's really important for them to finally say, "Hey, look, like he was a frog in the 80s. Like this is what it looks like. Like let's
Yeah.
make it look like that."
Hashtag props.
Yeah.
Like I had a coworker who saw the trailer over the summer and she was like, "Oh, I don't know. This looks like too weird." And I was like, "I don't know. The last trade I read with Thor in it was the God Butcher arc, and that ended with space sharks. Like he fell out of a spaceship and needed to get somewhere, and so he rode a space shark into battle." And I'm like, "No, I think this trailer looks exactly like what I expect
I
from
think this
this."
movie could have used some space sharks.
I was really disappointed actually
No
because
space
space
Oh,
sharks.
Marty's head would have exploded.
Oh,
Actually, bringing up since you mentioned the trailer, we gave like BVS so much shit for giving away a lot of the movie. They gave away almost all the big reveals in the trailer for this movie.
Yes and no. It's funny too. Is before I went to go see this, my wife asked me, "So what's this about?" And I basically went beat from the trailer, and I was like, I pretty much know the movie from it, but I think there was still a couple of things I felt that that they,
Like I don't know why they had to show us the hammer getting destroyed in the trailer.
It's just to point that it wasn't a moment that you should really care about.
Yeah, right.
But it's Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
But he didn't even need it.
he's
they
not
gave
the
it-
god
they
of
gave away-
hammers.
But
Yes.
they gave away his
Exactly.
lightning powers in the
He's
trailer.
not MC
too, though.
Hammer, man.
Yeah, he's not the god of hammers.
And I don't know if it was in a trailer, but I definitely knew going in that was his sister. I don't know if they just let that leak somehow, one way or the other.
No, that wasn't in the trailer.
Oh.
I didn't.
No.
I definitely knew about it though.
And comics wise, she's not.
I think Ruffalo let
Yeah,
it
yeah. Comics wise, she's usually
Loki's daughter.
Loki's daughter.
Mm,
Yeah. So
Weird. Oh man, that would have been weird.
mhm.
She was. Kate Blanchett was great. I mean, she's always great. But
Yeah,
like,
she was
she
great.
just became every Marvel villain at the end. It seemed to me like she had a great intro. She seemed all powerful, like they all do. And then once she got to Asgard, she kind of didn't seem to have a plan. She had her one guy with her.
Carl
and then-
Urban. I like him though. He's
I can't blame her for that though.
Well.
If you're gonna pick one guy,
And then she just kind of looked silly at
Judge
the end.
Dredd, right? Yeah, take Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd and like 75% of the characters from Xena by volume, right?
she had her. She had her plan. The problem was that Heimdall. They didn't factor in Heimdall in the plan. They didn't because they need the sword, which is still ridiculous to me because she got to Earth somehow.
Right.
When like how'd she get to Earth though? Like I didn't get. Maybe it's so she needed to bring the whole army and it was rougher that way. But to Marty's point about Hulk, you also gotta remember is there's a little throwaways that you don't really. There's a
The 2
Banner.
years.
Yeah, Banner was locked away for 2 years.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be the same Hulk because you never had Hulk be Hulk for that long. So it's going to be different. And in the comics, the longer he is Hulk, he become smarter and smarter, and he speaks more and more to the point that they even split him out. There's like 3 different Hulks in the comics and stuff like that. So it was going to happen.
I was hoping for a She-Hulk in this one.
Oh my gosh, please.
Just saying.
Banner's cousin.
It's funny though is that they basically had to just store Hulk away from Civil War because whatever side he would have been on in Civil War would have pretty much won. So that was the whole. Let's just throw him in outer space, and this is how he ends
I'm
up.
surprised that
on
wasn't
this planet.
mentioned. Really, they didn't really mention. So, like, I thought that would have been a throwaway line when Ruffalo comes back. Where you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Thor and Captain America hate each other. I mean, Iron Man and Captain America hate each other now." Just like kind of like a because he was
Like,
telling.
does Thor even know that?
Thor wasn't there either.
Thor wasn't there. Yeah, Thor
He would-
leaves.
He would know, wouldn't he? I mean, I don't know.
No.
He was on his spirit quest. He took ayahuasca.
Yeah, he had no idea what the hell was going on. That was interesting though. I'm not too familiar with all of the post-credit scenes in these Marvel films, but this is the first time that I actually recall them using a post-credit scene in an actual movie.
Yeah, the Doctor
Right?
Strange.
The Doctor Strange thing.
No, they did it.
Civil
War.
Civil War.
And
Did they? Yeah.
Captain
Yeah.
America 2 into the scene where they have
Where they
the
have
Winter Soldier's arm like locked up somewhere.
Yeah,
That was
this is the first time I actually just recall, like, it being a prominent scene, but it started making me wonder: is like, did they film that scene and then say, "All right, we have to build a movie around this now," or did they have a plan for it? Because to me, it felt a little out of place.
Thor was already filming.
Because when we saw it in Doctor Strange, it's like, why is your brother on this planet or whatever?
Yeah.
It was kind of jarring then, and then it made sense while we were watching it, but it still felt a little out of place.
I think it was to establish Strange as this, very powerful person.
I enjoyed it though, because it made me like
I didn't dislike
more.
It was just
it made me like Benedict more.
Yeah, that was the scene that got me back into the movie because that was pretty early on too.
Doctor Strange is probably my favorite in the most recent Marvel films anyway. So if you tie those two together, I think that's a win for me.
Good tie.
Yeah.
Odin is shown again to be a bit of a heel in all this.
Yeah.
Well, you don't get to be the king of a realm without some type of darkness behind it.
Yeah, but she has a point through a lot of what she's fighting against.
Yeah, she does.
Most Marvel villains do have a point, a defendable point. It's just how far they take it. It's just
that's like Zemo. Zemo wasn't the villain of that movie. You thought he was, and then when you watch the movie, you're like, no, Zemo's right. But it's.
He went too evil with it, but he does have a point.
Well, So what's that saying?
We talked about how there's too much joking around and too much jokes, but are we in agreement that Korg, the rock character, that we generally liked him? Like I loved him. I thought he was great. And he probably is responsible for a good chunk of the jokes in the movie. But I think one of my favorite parts is where the planet's like being kind of destroyed, and he's like, no, it still has a solid foundation.
Yeah. That was great.
And then it blows up.
Yeah, we can rebuild.
We can rebuild it.
I was watching that character, and I just kept thinking Murray from Flight of the Conchords.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted, I almost thought it was him, but the voice is a little different. Yeah. If it would have been Murray, I would have just lost my shit.
But it's great when Loki comes up and it's like, what you guys need is some leadership. And Korg's like, yes, you're right.
He's just so agreeable.
Yeah, and again, it's very much in that David Bautista kind of way of a similar character. But I don't know. I found it very genuine in a way. Like I really like this character.
That's what I'm saying. His parts are very funny, and some of the Loki stuff is always funny. But then when everyone else in the story is also going for jokes every other scene, it just takes away from it for me.
See, I like that Dan mentioned Bautista's character, Drax. Drax's comedic turn, I felt like was too much.
Yeah, he was funnier in 1, and then 2, he was funny at every scene, and it
was too much.
Yeah.
And this is where I think they dialed it in right with this movie, I think. I don't think it was too much. I think it was all right.
But the good news is they're bringing in a bunch of characters that we know are going to die in Infinity Wars, right? And then we have Korg, and it's like, Korg survived this. He's not going to survive.
What's the other one? Mel?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because we'll talk. Like, this is the after credit scene where they show him in the ship again, and then we're assuming it's Thanos' ship.
Thanos' ship, yep.
And the leaked footage that we've seen so far from Infinity War,
has
that they
Thor
showed at Comic-Con,
the ship
as Thor. Yeah, in space. Floating in space.
I've seen him on the ship with
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. They find him floating in space and grab him. So we're assuming you have to assume that the ship that they're on that was going to Norway.
Yeah, I don't think it's blown up. I think basically like Thor
taken over and he
quote unquote sacrifices himself or fights to get the ship, because there's no way that they make that whole big deal about resettling, the planet being about to be blown up, just to have Thanos destroy that ship. There's no way that.
Wow.
If you want to start Infinity War really dark, then that's the way to do it.
But that would be so stupid. That's just bad writing.
Here's the thing: Infinity War has to do with Thanos getting all the gems, right?
Yeah. So he's we know that Loki has one.
Exactly, because Loki's
got the Tesseract now.
Yeah.
I do love that they fixed the comic problem with the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Because the comic Gauntlet has the 6 gems.
Yeah.
I think movie only has 5 or something like that. And then when she sees it, she's like, "Oh, fake."
Fake.
Yeah,
And that was the comic Gauntlet. That was a good way to just fix
well,
that.
it fixes a continuity error because they show the Gauntlet in I think Thor 1. It's in the background, so a lot of people pointed it out. It's like, oh, the Gauntlet's already there, and it's like, that was their mistake. So that's their way of fixing that.
She's like, this is fake.
Yeah. Did we like Loki's constant flip flopping? Which is he?
It's Loki.
Yes.
Did that work? Because I think it felt genuine. Because isn't that his character? Like ultimately, his character is.
Yeah,
you just,
they had a really good scene with him and Thor. They were in, I think, an elevator or something.
Oh, that was great. I love that.
And there he was like, "Yeah, I thought I'd fight with you to the end." But then, because Loki was like, "You're fine just saying goodbye to me like this and never see me again." He's like, "Yeah, well, I thought we'd fight forever together, but you can't be trusted."
Mm-hmm.
And Loki just kind of accepts it. He's like, "Yeah, you're right." I mean,
well,
he turned on him in 2 minutes.
But he also said, "You are the god of mischief."
Yeah.
Like they kind of. You know what's crazy about that though? Loki doesn't hate Thor.
No.
And this is like the running theme throughout all these Thor movies. You assume that he hates him, but he doesn't. It's just Loki is always gonna Loki. So it's just he just doesn't hate the Thor character because he
doesn't hate him. He wants his own power. He wants his.
He was
own,
great when the first time we see Hulk, and the last time Loki saw Hulk, of course, was when he was slamming the shit out of him. So that was a great.
Now you know how this feels. Yeah, that was great.
Speaking of the first movie, I went back and rewatched the first Avengers over the weekend, and so I wanted to ask you guys how rewatchable you think this one will be, because I find that the funnier ones are harder to rewatch because they aren't as funny afterwards, even though I may enjoy them more when I'm watching them. And I think that first one is still very rewatchable. What do you guys think of this one?
I think the first Avengers is the most campy movie in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I love it, but when you go back and watch it, it's just Avengers 1 camp. Like, it is the most campy Marvel movie ever. Like, when you watch what they've done afterwards and how they were able to, like, kind of weave their stuff into it, when you watch the first Avengers, it's like, we're going to get it together and make a team. And that's the whole movie. And I had trouble watching the first Avengers over, to be honest with you.
I have a harder time watching Avengers 2 because when you watch it, you feel like the ending is almost the exact same thing as Avengers 1.
Yeah. Yeah. This one's going to be good on a second rewatch, I think, but then subsequently after that, it's going to drop off because there's a lot of cool, again, from a science fiction standpoint, and a lot of just badass kind of fighting type things. There's those moments in there that I think you can still get like enthused about. When Valkyrie, honestly, like the scenes with Valkyrie, and especially when
Tessa Thompson.
Just awesome. Yes. Well, she's great in Westworld too, and
and
she's great. She's great in Dear White People, the movie, not the show.
Yeah, and I there's just a lot of scenes where but I do have to nitpick about Led Zeppelin. As much as I love that song, did they have to do it twice?
Yes, you know why?
Yes.
They did the woman. Remember how every time Wonder Woman popped up, she had a theme music? That was his theme music.
This is what my wife said. It's kind of like a musical. It's like the reprieve, right? It's kind of. I felt like it's like when they did it the first time, it's like all right, we'd already seen it in the trailer. My preference would have been to save it for the end, like save it for that end
battle. Or Marvel paid so much for it that they said
let's just play it throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, because that's the first time they use a real named song like that. And they're probably like, no, we're gonna.
No, I mean,
Guardians.
Guardians has
Guardians
Guardians has a lot of off kilter kind of popular songs.
A lot of just 80s,
like Brandy, but it's not like the hugest song.
Right? Yeah, they have a lot of just second tier kind of songs that they're trying to make popular. This is the first like A-listing kind of well, no, I guess no, that was DC. Yeah, with Bohemian Rhapsody. And
Suicide Squad.
And Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad uses a lot of songs in there. Yeah.
Well, back to your rewatchability. I look at these movies no longer as movies and more so like episodes in the Marvel saga. How many times do you rewatch an episode of a show?
Depends.
Like Rick and
a
Morty.
Good one. A lot.
Like 10.
No, I'm not talking like Rick and Morty or something like I'm talking like the dramas, like the hour-long drama shows like that.
I catch myself rewatching episodes of Lost when they're on.
Mhm.
Like just out of place, like completely out of place. I'll watch an episode of Lost here and there.
I think if Infinity Wars makes a lot of this, what happened in this movie, unimportant, then it'll be hard to rewatch.
Well, but I mean, aren't they setting up Infinity Wars just in general to be basically a reboot or a retcon or something,
reset,
like whatever?
yeah.
Because I mean, we already know what Doctor Strange can do.
Yeah.
Right. So we know all this death that Iron Man sees isn't going to be a permanent thing because we know that Doctor Strange can kind of reset some things. So we're kind of setting ourselves up for almost like there's going to be some
death. Do that twice.
You know,
I don't think they're going to do that twice.
I think because we saw Thor dead, right? In Iron Man's vision.
Yeah.
They're not killing Thor.
No,
You know,
not.
But Iron Man's vision was different though. You talking about when Scarlet Witch put that in his head in Ultron, right?
Yeah.
Where he sees all of them dead.
Yeah.
I think that's a different vision, but they could kill him. That's the thing. This is the end of the run for a lot of these first run characters.
And especially with the Thor and the Asgardian characters, one of the things, oh my gosh, I hate myself right now. One of the things they do in the comics is they like reincarnate the characters multiple times, like Ragnarok keep happening and you keep getting different versions of them. And they usually use that as an opportunity to do something cheap with Loki, like, now it's sexy lady Loki trapped in Sif's body. How is Thor going to deal with his brother and his girlfriend being the same person?
Yeah.
So, like, they can do stuff like that. Also, I think in Infinity War, like, at some point, Thanos just snaps his fingers and, like, half of everybody in the entire universe is gone.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe that's what Tony sees, and then, you know, he can snap his fingers and they're back. So, like, there's, like, we're getting into the, like, this movie, Marvel said, we're going to do horrible comic book shit to you guys. So I think we need to be on the lookout for, like, evil twins and clones and, like, Skrull decoys and, like, I don't know, just like everything that you can possibly do to ruin a comic book is now fair game in these movies.
I don't think they're gonna get that inventive. They just never do with these movies.
What is that? It's
Not yet.
licensing. We would have had Skrulls already, but licensing didn't allow them to do it. And we would have had another Hulk movie, but licensing doesn't let them have a title Hulk movie.
Roland's only on board for one movie.
Okay.
Well, because he's gonna be Cable now,
yeah,
and that's gonna be a franchise.
Jumping ahead to our stuff, because I'm sure that Marty was going to bring this up with the news that Disney perhaps buying 20th Century Fox's properties,
entertainment division.
Does that actually set up a reason to kind of reboot after Infinity Wars? Because now you possibly have the X-Men and some of those other characters that they didn't have available to them to now bring in. So if you kill off a bunch of these characters, then it's like, all right, well, now we're just kind of resetting and we have a whole bigger universe to kind of...
No, you don't need a reboot. No. You have Doctor Strange to
that's what I'm saying. It's just
dimensions. You don't need a reboot. You just have
can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of these characters are at the end of the run, though. I mean, Iron Man is at the... like, they're not going to keep paying Robert Downey Jr. the amount of money that they're paying him. Like, he's done. You get the impression that Captain America is probably the top candidate to die because Chris Evans.
But we thought that at Civil War.
He always says he likes doing these though, so I don't know, and he doesn't do much else. To be honest,
and he's a good character, just having a back pocket. Even his little cameo in Spider-Man. It's great. Even he's like patience, and you're waiting at he's just good to have. He's I think out of all of them, I think. He's one of the ones that, like, I can't think... Like, Stark is basically Downey Jr. at this point. But, like, the way he's been able to just become Captain America... It's like Iron Man was written for Downey Jr. Mm-hmm. Evans became Captain America.
Sure. No, the other characters have kind of turned into...
Yeah.
I mean, Hemsworth... Also, I'll nitpick the Thor thing for a second. Why did they cut his hair?
Because Helmsworth got a haircut.
That's just
Because they didn't want to CGI out his mustache. Oh, sorry,
or no,
Superman.
no.
My bad.
Actually,
my bad.
when you're a fighter, technically you shouldn't have long hair because that's something that somebody could grab at.
man,
So
it just
it's
seems
just, I
dumb.
guess, for the fight, it did seem
It's the
dumb.
same.
But they also
but it's the
cut
same thing that
Ruffalo's
Amanda was
hair.
saying with the comic book. They just find reasons to like, all right, now we're gonna cut his hair, or we're gonna make him lose his eye.
Yeah, do we think
Yeah.
that's staying?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I think
It's
so.
all, it's all just comic booky kind of stuff. It's like
Because they
let's
said
do this.
The people that have seen the trailer for Infinity Wars said he's not blind. He
Yeah, I
has
thought
both
he
eyes.
had both eyes in the because I've
So.
seen some of the leaked kind of screen grabs or whatever from
Yeah.
that, and I thought he had both eyes at that point.
Well, maybe. Or maybe this was just a passing of the torch where he becomes Odin now.
Hmm.
It's kind of that type of thing. This is a real self-contained movie, though. This movie is a story that just exists in Thor. It doesn't really stretch across the Marvel universe. If you really think about it, the only thing that stretches is at the end, because they're headed towards Infinity
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
But if they don't do that one scene at the end, that's it. You could just end Thor. It's like, all right, we're gonna rebuild Asgard, which I think is above Kansas now.
Yeah, I think one of the things like is the Benicio del Toro is technically brothers with Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah,
the,
that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
the two
I want to see them together.
the Grandmaster and
The Collector.
Collector. Yeah.
They said there was a deleted scene where it looks like Goldblum was going to get killed, but they didn't show it. So
Well, he kills his cousin.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was gonna be. I thought they were gonna have Del Toro in the chair, and they turns around somebody else, and it's like, oh, okay, they didn't do that.
I just
did
think
anyone
after-
stay for the second after?
I didn't.
I only
I
saw
heard,
the one.
Well, I did. I stayed for the one, but the second one was
Yeah.
essentially hinting towards that he might not make it out of it. Is
Yeah.
basically it's like, oh, let's call this a draw, like because the
Yeah.
revolt is going on. My guess is because Del Toro comes back, like he's coming back for.
Well, he's holding some of the.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
he's got, so we know that he's coming back. How could we not see those two on screen together? And the fact that
You have
they
to.
killed Ego, and he was one of the not Mystics,
Celestials.
Celestials. So you know that they're gonna probably keep Goldblum around for at least a 5-minute cameo or something like that in a future movie.
That's the thing with Infinity War. There's going to be so many people in this
Yeah,
thing
it's
that it's
gonna
going
be
to
a
be
lot.
hard to focus on any minor character.
Well, here's the thing: if they didn't do that, would Infinity War even make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it would.
No.
It depends where they're going with it.
Everything I've read so far is I've heard the word heist movie a few times.
Well, because
It turns into Rogue One. So
Yeah, like
so-
Thor is going to be this all-powerful. Not Thor. I mean, Thanos going to be this
Thanos.
all-powerful things, and at the end he's going to fall for the hidden ball trick or something. And they're going to steal all the jewels from him.
Well, they still gotta get him Vision, so I think
Mhm.
that's gonna be the bulk of Infinity War is how Thanos gets to Vision.
Mhm. So we're assuming that he's not going to make it out of there because he's got to get to make the gauntlet. He's got to get.
Yeah, he's got to get Vision. So
All right. And so wait a minute. So that stone was from Loki's staff, right? The one that's in Vision was from Loki's staff from.
Yeah.
yeah, the Mind Stone, I believe.
Right. And
So.
then Loki was trying to get the Tesseract for Thanos, and then failed. But now he's got it. So we're assuming that the ship, again, in the post credits, is Thanos coming to get it from Loki.
Loki's gonna Loki.
And Loki's gonna Loki. So,
He's the most consistent of all the characters. You do not trust Loki. End of story.
again, like he's the most. I think he's the most interesting character in this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He's by far.
I think he's the most interesting out of the bunch. Like good guy, bad guy. I mean, specifically bad guy. He's the only one that's. I mean, he's not horribly bad. I think, as we've mentioned, he's not but he's the consistently best bad guy that they have going in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, he's
right
the
now.
only one that's been allowed to live.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, Ultron. Not so
Well,
good.
yeah, it was horrible. Yeah,
No, terrible.
and it was wasted too because Vader is so good. But
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't, Ultron's tough.
every villain, like even this one, Kate Blanchett was great at the beginning, but then at the end, you didn't care if she lived or died. I'm assuming she's dead. She might have got away, but we don't
I
know.
get away. You never know.
I don't know.
But I don't know what you do with her anymore. I read something where Thanos.
If she gets her power from Asgard, she doesn't have much power
Asgard.
anymore.
So now Thor doesn't have
comic,
power.
Maybe you guys know better, but there's a comic thing where Thanos is trying to get a woman called Death, and they just might
That's
make
not her. That's not her.
Yeah,
but they're
it's not
saying
her.
they might retcon. They might just make her.
No,
it's
that would
actual
be.
Death. Yeah. And he this is why Deadpool is immortal. It's convoluted shit. Yeah, he's in love with Lady Death, which is something.
Skeleton boobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta see that. Right.
You know what's funny though? Now that you think it, with Disney potentially buying Fox, the way that Deadpool runs the fourth wall, he's also a gateway to the whole universe. So they got plenty of gateways into making this multiverse thing happen.
They could just body slide into whatever story they want.
Yeah, because
he had some plans. Like Fox had some plans going forward as far as Deadpool 2, and then what's their next one with them?
New Mutants. They got New Mutants.
New Mutants.
Yeah,
there's a Dark Phoenix movie planned.
Maisie Williams is in New Mutants.
Yeah,
and then Sansa is in X-Men. It's just really confusing.
And then what's Deadpool's team?
The
X-Force.
X-Force.
X-Force. They had a plan for that. So I don't know what happens to all those plans.
They're working towards that because they have Domino, they have Cable. They've already shown Bishop in.
But there's
I hate
Disney.
that
There's a Gambit is finally supposed to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
No,
It's not gonna happen.
But does Disney just buy up all this stuff and say, all right, no, this is the new plan? No.
I don't think so. I don't
Again,
think
it's still
they
just
touched
all in the
Deadpool.
very early stages.
It's gonna take a while.
A very conglomerate,
It's kind of sad though. Now we were at 3 media companies. It'd be Warner, Sony, and.
Well, it's not. Fox is still going to hold on to their news division and sports division. They're not buying all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to compete with Disney right now. They got all of Marvel. They got Star Wars. And they got all their animated shit. So it's hard to compete with them.
Amanda, you're gonna say something?
I was going to say there was some other comic news today.
Yeah.
So
we don't have Jamil on, but go ahead. What's your comic news?
Bendis is now on an exclusive contract with DC going forward. What?
I just read that. Yeah.
Isn't that like some April Fool's Day shit? So if you don't know, Brian Michael Bendis is one of Marvel's powerhouse writers for the last decade or so.
People hate this guy. Like, a lot of people are just like, great, now DC's gonna suck. So.
I saw someone joking that all of the letterers are going to need a raise at DC to keep up with all of the mind-numbing dialogue, because Bendis is known for writing very realistic dialogue, but also a lot of just sort of like filler, decompressed stuff. People going like, huh? What? Did you say? Yeah, I just said that. And it's like no one wants to pay money to read that spread out over 5 pages, and definitely no one wants to letter it. But so I was just wondering if you like Bendis or hate Bendis, but like, what are there any DC characters you'd be interested to read him on? Any opinions? Or are you just happy to see him off? Or better, there's a guy who's been writing the young adult books for Miles Morales. Maybe he gets to write Ultimate Spider-Man now. Or I guess he's just Spider-Man now.
He's Spider-Man.
I don't know.
Maybe that type of dialogue works for Lobo. Maybe I could see a lot of just instead of the with a oh fuck shit,
Talking about Lobo, they casted the wrong this is why I'm mad every time I see a Justice League trailer. Like Momoa should have been Lobo.
They had
between
going back to trailers. They showed for some reason before Thor. I guess it was a mistake, but they showed the Justice League trailer twice.
I saw the
and no one was excited.
Dude, I saw it and then I thought to myself, because it was really like two trailers, right? The first one where Superman's dead and it's all somber and you're like, okay, this looks like a pretty. Then they go right into the Momoa. Yeah, I'm on top of the Batmobile. Yeah, it's just like, come on.
I'm still excited for this movie. I don't care.
Really?
Okay, I kind of want to watch you do like the parody version of the Justice League movies. You know how like Matt Damon and Liam Hemsworth and Sam Neill did the parody Dark World movie. I want to watch you guys do the Justice League movie for me instead of having to go sit through the whole thing.
All right.
It's gonna be only 2 hours though, so you're good.
Well, I'll play Superman, and you can CGI out my mustache.
Or
Got it?
You know what's funny now that you mention it? Justice League and Infinity War are going to be the same movie. Watch.
Yep.
Because remember how I was saying the thing about Vision and the Stone? That's exactly what's going to be the point of Cyborg in Justice League, because they're after the technology that's in Cyborg, the villain. Mm-hmm. And the villain needs that technology to do whatever he's planning to do. They're going to be the same movie.
Except for we're not even going to see Darkseid in this movie, right? Like
no, yeah, he's been in the trailer.
Darkseid's
not. But
it's what's his name?
Villain,
his lieutenant.
Wolf. What the
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf
is who's the guy from Game of Thrones?
Do we think this will even do better than Thor, money-wise?
No, not first week. We don't know what Thor's going to really do, but I don't think he'll do. Because I think people are a little soured on Justice League right now. And I don't think Wonder Woman did anything to help Justice League buzz.
Well, they're focusing more on her in the trailer, so that'll help somewhat. I think it's just going to be crazy and fun.
No, she didn't even have a word in the most recent trailer. The trailer that I saw before Thor, she had maybe like 2 words, if that.
The last TV trailer they put out, was very focused on her.
They specifically, I mean, well, we know that they did a bunch of reshoots when Whedon took over, but they specifically were focusing in on adding more Wonder Woman stuff to it after the success of the movie. So I think we're going to see a lot of her.
See, that's the problem when they do that.
Tali is asking why they haven't made an Aquaman movie.
This is my issue, man.
It just fucked up. We're gonna go into this next week.
It's gonna be what? It's 2 hours, right? It's just gonna be a 2-hour movie, and we have kind of no background on like no background films on most of these characters. So they're gonna have to spend a lot of time just trying to develop this. It's gonna be tough, man.
This movie's gonna
next week we're doing the retro review of Man of Steel. I think we'll also spend some time.
We'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll spend some time talking about how they could have done this better after that.
Well, here's the problem. DC's characters are comic gods, so a lot of these characters don't necessarily need background stories. Mm-hmm. So, like, they can get away with not describing the Flash's story because there's a TV show. There's all this Flash stuff that's been around. He's one of the top 5 characters of all time. Like, you get away with that. Aquaman, everybody knows the guy that swims with fishes. Everybody knows that. This has been made fun of for years. They're going to have to spend at least 30 minutes of this movie describing Cyborg.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, but they gave you the exact origin of how he got put together in that little
they did it in BVS. I mean,
but they're going to have to explain more about it because Cyborg's one of the... It's not that he's a lesser-known character, but he's not one of the comic gods. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like they could get away with the other guys, but you're not going to get away with not explaining Cyborg.
Talia's saying she wants to do Man of Steel next week with us, so we'll bring Talia back next week.
Sure.
Man of Steel. Yeah.
So
that'll be that.
Maybe we can get Justin, too.
Not it.
Over under... when do they bring back Superman? First 10 minutes or last?
No. Last 20.
So you think he's going to be it's like, oh, we can't beat this guy, and then Superman comes over. Ha ha! Yes, we can. That's,
I'm not even sure what Superman we get when he comes back.
He's going to be wearing all black with the silver, the silver S.
You know what'd be awesome?
No
if
cape.
They bring back,
unable to fly.
Somehow he turns into Nicolas Cage. I would. That would be hilarious.
That's what we're gonna see.
Nicolas Cage.
Maybe we're gonna see Cyborg with the Superman S on him, or Shaquille O'Neal shows up as Steel. We'll see that. There's gonna be a Superboy. So I'll remember. Do you remember that run after Death of Superman?
Oh, the Eradicators, the other guys. They have Cyborg Superman on Supergirl.
Yeah.
They introduced that character there. So they have some stuff in there, but also DC got a little. They did something smart with their TV show. I was telling Marty about this last time we spoke. They already defined the dimension thing on the TV show in the Flash. Like it's already defined.
Do you think enough people watch that though?
No,
Like
not that enough. Well, it's one of the more popular of the shows that they have,
Sure,
but they
but
already
it's
wrote
still-
it out. They wrote it out. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
you
it's
can
got
explain-
maybe 2 million people watching
Yeah.
it, 3 tops. It's
Yeah.
not even. It's on CW. It's not even on one of the networks, really.
Yeah, we always have to worry about continuity when you're like, all right, well, this character's here, and then it's like, oh, this is confusing because they're just purposely doing it now. So,
Well, I think they have a chance to start making movies, and they might try with just not caring anymore about they might go the X-Men route. They're just going to start making movies, and we're not going to care if it makes sense to the
Well,
last one
we know
anymore.
Ben's probably going to be out soon enough.
Yeah, I
mean,
think depending on how good or bad this movie does, and it'll do well, but it's not going to be well received. They might just use the Flashpoint movie to reset the whole thing.
maybe.
that could be a thing.
I'm still excited.
They have a similar out that Marvel has with Doctor Strange, only with
Mm-hmm.
the Flash. So
Yeah, with the Flash. Oh.
very similar kind of things. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Anything else on Thor?
I mean, it's fun. People, I mean,
I think it's a little overrated for
it's
like
overrated.
in regards to what the popular. It fits in nicely with what Marvel's trying to do. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's overrated.
I think it's on the high end of what like Rotten Tomatoes should be, right? I mean,
yeah, it's a little high, but I think it got the first two were so bad that this is automatically better than anything.
Stop saying that. The first two are really good. We're gonna have to do a rewatch of those two.
I'm not a hater of the first two. I just recognize that they're on the lower spectrum of the Marvel 1 through 14.
It's not a spectrum. It's multiple axes, and Thor is just in a different direction.
I mean, same thing. I like these better. I like the Thor movies better than the Avengers movies, better than Civil War. I like I like Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 as well, better than the Avengers movies and Civil War as well. So and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies too. So I mean,
you're the exception, not the rule.
I probably am, but no, I like the Thor movies. This is a different kind of Thor movie, but it's still enjoyable. But nothing too great.
I think it was better. I would put it better than Guardians 2. I think I liked it a little more than Guardians 2, but there's no way I like this more than Spider-Man or Logan. Or Wonder Woman.
Or Wonder Woman. No, it's not even. It's the 4th best movie of the year.
Yeah, of the comics this year, maybe.
Abe's chiming in and saying that we're all on the spectrum.
Yeah,
we got some new chatters today. I wanted to.
I wonder if Abe posted on Pop Access. I meant to post the show on Pop Access.
We had Lovey 1980. I never recognized before. So welcome, and then Timeout at Men.
Yeah, I know who that is. I did.
So welcome.
I'll have to post it afterwards. I meant to post it to have a live stream on Pop Access. We'll post it after the fact. I'll have to sign in and do that.
Pop Access, we're getting more discussion than we get on the YouTube chat. Not chat, but the YouTube comment section. We get more on the Pop Access comment section. Mostly negative about me, but still.
I mean,
well,
hey, at least Gorkle wasn't on this week attacking you. So
No, I didn't bring up Fox News this week.
I mean, we don't have much time left, Marty. Is there anything else?
No,
I mentioned the.
We were going to talk about Disney stuff. Just bringing up what we talked about last week. Kevin Spacey has been outed at Netflix.
He's gone.
Seems like everybody that worked on House of Cards got their crotch grabbed at one point or another.
Did you see what's his name? Ron Perlman? Hellboy?
Mm-hmm.
That's his, Ron Perlman?
Yeah.
His tweet where the fictional president is held to a higher standard than the real president.
He's a good follow on Twitter. He gets involved.
Yeah. He's
also Talia has another hand. I thought we had a new person.
No, I saw that. No, I knew that. Yeah.
Oh well.
And then Weinstein might have actual charges pressed.
Mine's on actual charges. Funny enough, Kevin Spacey went
man.
to the same sex addiction clinic that Weinstein went to in Arizona. so I'm sure they're having a good
Probably
time.
working on a movie together or something.
Sure.
Burn Hollywood.
His movie got taken. The movie we talked about last week with Kevin Spacey was pulled from a few festivals, so that probably won't come out now. They'll probably throw it out in February.
Hey, I think Kevin Spacey starring in it, produced by Harvey Weinstein, directed by Roman Polanski. There you go. You got Oscars. I think one of them is banned from the Oscars, but still, I think that has Oscars all written all over it right there.
Sure.
Yeah.
With a Woody Allen treatment, maybe.
Yep. Woody Allen screenplay. There you go.
And comedy by Bill.
Yep. Bill Cosby plays
Trifecta.
Ghost Dad 2.
Burn
Let's
Hollywood.
close out another episode of the Movie Stuff Show. We'll be back next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No more daylight savings. EST. As I mentioned, going to talk about Man of Steel, right? That's what we're going to do as a primer for Justice League. So we're going to do that. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to us. Mari's going to put videos on our faces or something like that.
I'll put a whole playlist of all the superhero movies we talked about in the last year or so.
Yeah, including BVS. We did a BVS
Jigsaw, if you want to go back and watch that from last week, got some good views on that. So thank you to everybody who watched that one.
Yep.
And I always throw up the Marilyn Manson movie because that's our best one so far.
Yeah, it's doing well. The How to Make a Martyr. So, Facebook, Twitter, Movie Stuff Show, both of them. Follow Nick. Nick's got a podcast, and he's follow him on Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff. What's your how do people follow you?
Instagram is AirMaxTren, and the podcast is TJ Squared.
TJ Squared.
And we're gonna try and get that on the Pop Access.
Pop Access.
Yes.
Send a few to that. And Amanda, are you going to join us for Justice League? You can join us a couple weeks. You gonna pass on that one? You gonna pass on that one? Yeah.
Well,
We'll get Jamil back on for that one. He's probably excited.
Should bring back Justin.
Jamil's probably watching the Ric Flair 30 for 30 right now.
Probably.
Yeah, if you really want the views on that one, bring back Justin.
Yeah.
I'll harass him from the comments, so he'll have time to formulate a response rather than having to deal with me laughing at him. And
what is love?
Yeah.
I will have the song "I Want to Know What Love Is" ready in the background to play.
No, I just picture Amanda typing while Led Zeppelin is playing.
Yeah.
All right. Bye. Good night.